Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Jocelyn Conley, pelvic floor physical therapist, and in this video I'm going to go over 2 exercises to work on hip internal rotation mobility. What you'll need is a band as well as a surface that you can sit where your legs will dangle. With each of these exercises, I recommend doing 2 to 3 rounds, 10 to 15 repetitions, and with each rep holding about 5 seconds. Now the idea here is that a lot of times people get tight in their back and through the back of their hips, so they're pulled into what we call hip external rotation. And we don't often think of working our hip internal rotators because it's really awkward. But if we become imbalanced between the muscles that rotate our hip externally and internally, it can affect our low back, our pelvis. So let's go into the first one. You'll place the band around your ankles. The band should be about light to moderate resistance. And you're going to lay on your stomach, and I give people an option whether to just start the exercise or position their spine so that your core is engaged. So if you're going to go for the core engagement, you're going to gently draw your belly button in towards your spine so there is less of an arch in your lower back. Then you're going to rotate your hips so that your feet move away from one another. And you're going to hold this for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to control back to the starting position. If you see, you can notice that I don't have a ton of motion, and that's okay. So I'm doing the second rep, and then I'm controlling back to the starting position. And I would do this probably for 10 reps. Go into the next one that I'm going to show you, and then I'll come back to this. You're going to feel this anywhere from deep in your butt to like just deep in the hip. Second exercise is going to be in a seated position. Where we were before was that our hips were in extension. Now they're in flexion. So we're working these deep hip rotators a little bit differently. Positionally, your starting position, you want to be in neutral. So shoulder in my hip are in line. I'm not slouched and I'm not overly arched. I want to keep my lower legs and my feet as relaxed as possible. I like to tell people, pretend you don't have legs, like it's coming from up here, even though the band is anchored lower. Then I'm going to keep my thighs heavy on the surface, and I'm doing the same exact thing as I did here. My ankles move away from one another as my hips rotate internally. I'm going to hold this for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to control back. If you're using more of the front of the hip that contribute to hip internal rotation, you might feel this here. If you are really keeping your thigh heavy on the surface, and depending on what surface you're on, it's going to be easier or harder, then you're going to feel this more deep in your butt. So what I suggest is to direct your focus and intention on one or the other. So I know I want to feel this deep in my butt because I'm more likely to dominate with these muscles. So I'm going to focus on really keeping my thighs heavy and my feet and my lower legs relaxed. And then I'm going to do 10 of these, holding each rep for 5 seconds, and I'll go back to the first exercise. That's it for these 2 exercises. Again, it's for hip mobility, which is basically learning how to control hip motion across the full range of motion. It's to help with hip and pelvic stability, low back support, and it's to help it can help addressing any problems that can contribute to pain across the low back, SI, and hip. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please comment below or reach out to me. If you like this video, please press the like button, and if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And if you know anyone that can benefit from watching, please share.